the day. Let's get it. Oh, what the? Anyway, the classroom was peaceful again, too peaceful. Pennsylvania was actually in class for once. I was drawing stars beside the gold star Square gave me. Maz was nervously reviewing notes. Aluminum was staring at the clock again, saying 8:09. Square Dude sat calmly at his desk, tiny little cupcake beside him. Everything felt normal until, bang, the classroom door exploded open. Everyone jumped. Eddie stormed in again, looking completely furious. Hair messy, eyes red, breathing hard, saying, "Are you all happy now?" Maz immediately shrank in fear, saying, "Oh no." Eddie crashes out again. She points directly at me, saying, "This is still your fault." I stood up instantly, saying, "Girl, leave me alone." That's definitely getting copied. Because I would 1,000% say that. Then Eddie turned over to Aluminum, and you keep recording everything for no reason. Aluminum snapped back instantly. I mean, immediately, saying, "Because every day turns into a cartoon." Then Eddie walked over to Maz and just smack right across the face. Maz gasped dramatically, saying, "Ow." She yells, "Stop running away from everything." He says, "I panic easy." Square Dude snaps. The room fell silent because Square Dude stood up slowly, then stared directly at Eddie. Long stare, doing her stuff. Cold stare. Everyone remembered instantly. She made him cry yesterday. Then, without a word, he pulled out the. I whispered, "Oh no." But instead of attacking, Square Dude calmly walked out the classroom. Door shut behind him. Everyone blinked. Maz asked, "Where did he go?" Silence. Then, bang! The door flew open again. Square Dude sprinted behind Addie and footballed directly to the back of her head, saying, "Ow." Before she could react, he grabbed Maz's backpack, threw it onto Eddie's back, then stepped onto the backpack with one foot, pinning her down dramatically. Eddie struggled. Basically, he left Eddie to suffocate. She yells, "Get off of me." But Square Dude had already walked back into the hallway, closed the classroom door, and leaned against it solidly from outside. Aluminum investigates. The class sat there in stunned silence. Pennsylvania blinked, saying, "What is happening?" I immediately started recording. Maz rubbed his face, saying, "My backpack." Aluminum slowly stood up, walked toward the door, and pressed his ear against it, trying to listen. Everyone watched quietly. The, the phone call outside the classroom. Square Dude pulled out his phone calmly, then dialed somebody. Hello, pause. He says, "I need someone removed." My eyes widened. Inside the classroom, Aluminum gasped quietly, saying, "No way." On the phone were Cool Edit Guy and Hyper. They say we're on our way. Call ended. Nah, man, I'll be right back. I need a minute to process all this. Okay, that was funny. Anyway, the return, the return. Suddenly, Square Dude slammed that classroom door back open. Aluminum got blasted backward to the desk because he was listening. Everyone jumped. Square Dude walked calmly back to his desk, sat down, and turned the chair toward the board. Silent. Maz slowly raised his hand, nervously saying, "What did you just do?" No response. Complete silence. The coughs. A few minutes later, the classroom door opened again. Hopper Crystal and Cool Eddie Goss stepped inside. Eddie froze immediately, saying, "Wait." Cool Eddie Goss says, "Nope." They escorted her out while she yelled dramatically. Doors shut behind them. Silence filled the room. Everyone slowly turned toward the creature. The chair slowly rotated around, and there he was, leg crossed, hands folded together, sitting there like a supervillain. Then, in the deepest voice possible, he says, "I sent her away." Everyone stared in horror because Square Dude smiled. Not a tiny smile, not a small grin, the biggest smile that they've ever seen him make. Full teeth, actually happy. Because this is the best day of this creature's life. Aluminum whispers, "That's terrifying." My mouth dropped open while recording it. Maz looked emotionally destroyed. The warning Square Dude leaned forward slowly. "If anyone speaks about this, pause. You get a check mark." Then he grinned even wider. Like this was the greatest day of his life. This creature, bro. Oh, okay, Aluminum messes up again. Aluminum slowly stood up, silent, carefully walking toward the board, trying to erase another check mark again. Excuse me. The chair suddenly rotated around. Square Dude raised an eyebrow, saying, "You're not slick." Aluminum froze, saying, "Oh." And he says, "And for what you pulled last time too." They always be doing this. Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted, then suddenly, Square Dude leaped forward. The board somehow lifted upward dramatically. Everyone screamed. What? Square Dude landed on top of the board somehow. My phone shook violently while recording, saying, "Ain't no way." Then He put on some black shades slowly. The classroom lost it. Man says this man is insane. How much aura do you have? I can't with this creature, bro. ChatGPT got him moving like an aura farmer, bro. His aura is crazy. Square Dude tossed the chalk up into the air like a basketball. Caught it smoothly, then pointed it directly at Aluminum. Aluminum stared at the board in horror, saying no. Then, Square Dude jumped down from the board dramatically, slammed, one knee crouched onto the floor in a Batman pose. The shade slowly slid downward from his eyes slightly, and then he glared at Aluminum. Complete silence. Everyone understood immediately. One more check mark and Aluminum was done. Expelled. I whispered behind the phone, this is the craziest school ever. This was insane. We got Square Dude as the aura farmer somehow, and then everybody else was like,